Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, the Switch 2. In 3D! Dig up the fourth grave in the cemetery for a diamond, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society digs up the fourth grave with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm always joined by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. A couple of weekends ago, my husband and I cleaned out our garage.
Okay.
Which is like a detached garage.
What's
like
in that
detached from the
garage?
house. Spiders.
Yeah, right.
Dirt.
Right.
Like, there was a bunch of stuff in there that, we don't have in the house, but we're like, oh, we're not ready to get rid of it, so it's just in purgatory.
Yes.
In, like, the garage. But we were like, no
that's
more.
That's in my attic.
So we bought a shop vac, which is the first time that I've ever owned a shop vac or used a shop vac. Let me tell you, we should all be singing the praises of shop vacs more often. Shop vacs should be being taught in schools. They're amazing.
I don't think a regular vacuum is taught in schools.
No, because
I think
it's
you
not
just
as good.
start with a but hold on though, because you got to like roll around a big thing.
No,
and you've got like all these like tubes and stuff.
No, you don't understand.
You got to like bend over.
You don't. No, you buy extensions. You don't understand. A shop vac, it's dry, it's wet, it's cobwebs, it's leaves.
Yeah.
It's sucking it all up.
Right.
I'm a big shop vac booster now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's huge. Whatever happened to dustbusters? They're gone now, right?
Oh,
we don't really like a small personal vacuum anymore.
No, I would assume that
a personal vacuum.
Yes, yeah, personal vacuum. Yeah, I mean that is what it is. No, I assume they still exist in some form or function. I feel like the big vacuum cleaners are no longer in fashion. Like I don't know what kind of like vacuum cleaner you have, but we have one that's like a little vacuum. It's like a Dyson-like.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I believe ours is not actually Dyson. We do have like a standing, what you may call out of fashion.
Oh, yes.
vacuum cleaner. It's tucked away in its little vacuum cleaner garage.
Well, the one that I'm talking about, like the one I have that's Dyson-like, you can take the actual like vacuum part of it is pretty small.
Right.
And then you can just take that off and put on an adapter or whatever you would call it.
To like reach somewhere.
Or to be like a personal vacuum, like a dustbuster.
I see. Well, and so that is also what our vacuum will do too, is that like you just like push a button and like lifts out and then it's like a personal vacuum.
Yeah. So they
as well.
I see. Well, we've covered that.
We've covered that, and this is maybe the least interesting the show has ever been. What about like a robot vacuum? You have any interest in that? I know both of our places are pretty small.
Oh yeah, I mean they. Did you see that? Like they just got banned. Any like robot vacuum that I'm serious. Any robot vacuum that was manufactured outside the United States.
Yeah. Okay.
Can no longer be sold.
That makes sense.
Does it?
I don't know. Are they spying on us?
Mapping the dimensions of our homes.
I mean, they do that.
Yeah.
How useful that is, I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, maybe I'm totally wrong and I shouldn't be laughing at this.
If you want to hear us talk more about vacuuming, maybe you can head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where if you're supporting us at the 8-bit level or the 16-bit level, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS at the Movies.
Yes, that's right, where there's been no talk of vacuum cleaners at all. In fact, Patrick, myself, and usually a special guest are going to a movie together and then talking about that movie. And this weekend, we're going to be seeing and talking about Spider-Man.
Brand new day. Yes. We just put out an episode on The Odyssey with friend of the show, Ryan Mogi. We've got a fun guest lined up for Spider-Man as well. So check that out. We've been seeing movies all year and last year as well. We've got miniseries up there that are available at the 4-bit level, at the free level. So if you don't want to spend any money, there's still stuff for you to listen to over on the Patreon. And then also, if you would like to join our Discord, you can. All you got to do is email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and I send you an invitation. You get in there. People are talking about their experiences with Splatoon Raiders, but people are dropping levels of difficulty in there that are frankly shocking to me. We're having a great time. People are learning and sharing, and it's all very good. So get in there, especially right now if you're playing Splatoon Raiders. It's like we're talking about it a lot. But you know, in a couple weeks, I'm sure we'll be playing other games too. So, yes. And then finally, before we move into the meat of the show today, my book comes out next week. Oh my God, it's next week.
So exciting.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Anatomy of a Mutant book that I wrote, filled with original art by Mateo Santaloco, is out in the world August 4th. So I'll keep saying pre-order it now, but that won't be the right language in like a week. I'll have to say order it or buy it. What do you say? You say buy it?
I think either one works.
You know, check it out. Go to your library. Check it out from the library.
That's exciting thought.
Yeah. All right, Mark, let's get into the show. Let's look back on the 3DS library to see what the Switch 2's library might be. Was that a good elevator pitch of what we're doing today?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the reason this is on our minds, on Tuesday's episode, we talked about that interview with Shigeru Miyamoto where the subject of remakes came up, and Miyamoto was saying that, hey, like, most people play games in like a 5-year window, and games from 10 years ago, if they're not accessible, then they're ripe for a remake.
Right. If they're not accessible on this, basically, if they're not accessible on the Switch, they may as well not exist.
Yes.
Which, like, in some ways is pretty true. They've made a lot of games accessible on the Switch just by virtue of the classics libraries. But one of the places that is like really not accessible and that we even have a hard time sort of conceptualizing how they would even come to Switch is the 3DS library.
But we see them looking at the 3DS library seemingly for a number of Switch games this year, Switch and Switch 2 games this year.
Right.
We have...
Which are themselves remakes.
Well, first you have Tamagotchi Life Living the Dream, which is new. But you have Star Fox, which is a remake of Star Fox 64. The last time there was a remake of Star Fox 64 was 15 years ago on the 3DS. And then the
exact same thing is true of Ocarina of Time.
Yes. Exactly.
And then it turns out there are a handful of others that have already been ported over to the Switch. But we're actually going to go through the entirety of Nintendo's first-party published 3DS titles and rate them on a scale of 1 to 4 Ds.
That's right, because it's like when you go to a theme park and watch a 3D movie, like that Muppet one that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Then it was like Muppet Vision 4D, because you know that they were going to squirt you with water.
Right. Or like something's going to come out of the back of the seat and like poke you.
Yeah.
Right? But for us, it's the 3Ds of the 3DS and then the 1D of HD Rumble. Right. So that's how that all comes together. So on a scale of 1 to 4 Ds, how likely it is that we will see this game or this like franchise brought back on the Switch 2, and we're saying that 4Ds is like
the most likely.
And what do we rate those that have like that this has already happened for?
I mean, I think those are probably automatic 4Ds.
Sure, but what if they've only come to Switch and not Switch 2?
Well, I think that anything that released on Switch while the Switch 2 is in existence counts as a Switch 2 game.
Right, but I'm saying we're going to encounter Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon as we go through this.
Yes, and I think for that example, perfect example.
Thank you.
The fact that it is on Switch means it is backwards compatible and playable on Switch 2.
I understand.
Which means I think we
so
count
it gets a 4.
As,
okay,
yes.
Great. All right, well then let us tarry no further because, I don't know, we've got like... Did you know that there were like 1,800 games on the 3DS?
Yeah, turns out they were really prolific.
Turns out they and Nintendo during this time obviously didn't publish all 1,800 games, but they publish a lot of games during this period, including a lot of games not developed by them or their partners, but like Square Enix shows up a lot here, and just like other like various other developers.
And we still see this happen occasionally on where Nintendo will publish a third-party game. Usually, maybe in Japan, it's published by like one publisher, and then Nintendo is publishing worldwide. But I think
it happens a little bit less.
I think
now.
It does too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that is kind of a window into the 3DS moment of gaming.
Yeah, the 3DS as it overlaps with the beginning of the Switch, right?
Yeah,
because that's where you see a lot of Square Enix and Level 5 games in particular.
And I think like in the past 15 years, the gaming landscape has changed in that way. Like everything has just become more global, where you have Level 5 publishing their own games. You have Square Enix more often publishing their games on Nintendo platforms rather than relying on Nintendo to do it. So
yeah, which is interesting though, because like, you know, especially now when Nintendo publishes a game, it's got just like a little extra shine to it, right? Maybe the one example I was about to give is maybe like the one time that it really didn't on Switch, but like that DC superhero like girl game.
Oh right.
I was like, well, why did they publish that?
Yeah.
But like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I feel like that got a little extra shine on it because it was being published by Nintendo, and more people picked it up because they were like, yeah, it's a first-party game, I'm gonna get it. Anyway, I guess the question is like, does it behoove Nintendo to do that if people are already flocking to the platform to put games on it?
Right. But as we go through this list and you're like, wait a second, Nintendo didn't develop that game. That's developed by Square Enix or Capcom or whatever. That is why.
Right. And we'll try to shout those things out as we encounter them. But who knows? We're dumb. We might forget. Okay, so starting with the launch of the 3DS, which, by the way, 2011. So long ago.
Yeah. 15 years.
Yeah.
But then, again, just to reiterate, it makes total sense that they would want to bring things from this era, because 15 years, that is, you know, somebody who was born when the Switch came out is now like almost 10 years old and would have no familiarity with the 3DS at all.
Just none. So the first game that we have on our list here is Nintendogs and Cats. 3 versions of which came out: French Bulldog and New Friends, Golden Retriever and New Friends, and Toy Poodle and New Friends. Mark, what do you think is the likelihood that we will see a new Nintendogs and Cats?
Yeah, for a franchise that for 10 years or so
burned so bright,
maybe not even that long, because the DS era was definitely prime Nintendogs era.
Yes.
And I feel like the 3DS version didn't capture the imagination in the same way.
Well, and like they put it out at launch and then never revisited it again. Like,
I think this is a 1.
Yeah, I think you're right. That if they were going to revisit Nintendogs and Cats, first of all, should have done it as a mobile game, right? When they were making mobile games. But now we're just like so far beyond it that I'm like, it doesn't really make sense.
Right. It seems like one that could be evergreen.
It does.
But apparently not. Apparently, yeah. So I find it unlikely.
I agree. Pilot Wings Resort, a launch game for the 3DS. What are you thinking here?
We're kind of getting this,
I know,
in some ways with Switch Sports Resort.
Except that is really more a Wii Sports Resort sequel, right?
Yeah.
Like the resort branding on Pilot Wings Resort is like a little wrong. I don't know. I sort of think that when they put this out as a 3DS launch game, which by the way, the first party launch lineup is Nintendogs and Cats, Pilot Wings Resort, Steel Diver, and then like some like AR games. Like woof, what an I mean, I'm not wrong. Like that sucks.
Wasn't Steel Diver a game that Miyamoto directed or produced? Because wasn't it one of those? Remember when he had those like demo games that turned into other things? Was Steel Diver one of those?
I don't know if he directed it.
I'm looking it up.
Regardless,
no, he did not direct it, but he was a designer on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Pilot Wings Resort at the moment. Right. I did just have to pump the brakes just to say woof to this launch lineup. And you know, we'll get to Ocarina of Time remake 3 months after the launch of the system. So like they get it back pretty quick, but like my God. Okay, so Pilot Wings Resort. I sort of feel like Pilot Wings is done as a series.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be surprising to me if they brought it back.
Yeah, so
but I feel like kind of more likely than Nintendogs and Cats, honestly. I think I might give this 2Ds.
We can go 2Ds. That's fine with me. Now back to 1D for Steel Diver.
Yes.
Yeah, 1D for Steel Diver. Steel Diver was you controlled a submarine, and like it was with a lot of touch controls to like, control like the pressure and, all this kind of silly stuff. It was like a simulation game.
I never played it. I never owned it.
You're not missing much there.
Yeah.
And then we've got some of the digital games that came out around launch, including just the suite of AR games, which is probably the software that everyone has looked at and been like, what? And then done nothing with. Have you ever played any of these AR games?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither. Like I still have the like pack of cards that you like use with it, but I've never really messed with them. That maybe we can lump all these in together. So there's this Face Raiders, which was like a where you could put your face on like a little
taking advantage of the 3DS's camera,
and it went on like a little flying around thing that you either shot with or shot at. I don't remember. And then Street Pass Me Plaza, which itself was like another suite of just like kind of passive games that you played with Street Pass, which was sort of the when you would just close your 3DS and walk around with it while it was still on. It would communicate with other people who had their 3DSs in the same state, and like your me would be sent to them as like an envoy of your gaming profile, whatever. And there were all these little games inside, some of which were more fun than others, and just the concept of the Street Pass was fun and novel, and we miss it. But I think all of these are dead in the dirt, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They're too tied to what the 3DS was, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if they are deserving of Ds.
Oh, okay. We give them no Ds.
We give them no Ds, I think.
0 Ds. All right, now we move on to The Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time 3D, which came out June 19th, 2011. Itself, of course, a remake of the Nintendo 64 game, and we will see another remake of the Nintendo 64 game, if not the 3D version of it, later this year. I mean, I think we have to give this 4 Ds.
I think we do too. It does make you wonder, like, what will become of Ocarina of Time 3D, because it's such a good version of the game, but because of the hardware it's on, it will forever live in this like weird limbo state, I think.
Yeah, I mean that, yes. And that, I think we're actually going to talk about a lot of specific versions of games, because like the 3DS in some ways does become like a little bit of a port machine, or like a remake machine. And there are like the best versions of some games on there that I don't know why they would bring forward, right? Like ever again, unless they find a way to do a classic console library with the 3DS.
Right. And the Virtual Boy being part of Nintendo Classics now is so interesting because they're so slavish to the like original presentation of those games,
the original form factor. Both things that like it looks exactly the way that it did before. Someday we'll be able to make that red into another color, but not yet. And also you need to play it with a device that's holding the machine up to your face.
So how do they approach like games that were designed for 3D, like Super Mario 3D Land?
Right.
Which we'll get to. But yes, 4Ds for Ocarina of Time 3D.
And then I guess, coming out just later in the year, September 9th, and literally the next first-party game that comes out is Star Fox 64 3D, which is a remake of the Nintendo 64 game, which we've already seen remade on the Switch 2 earlier this year. So, I mean, I think we have to give that 4 Ds as well. But yeah, now the 3D version of this is basically going to be lost to time. More or less. Next up, we've got Tetris Axis coming out on October 2nd, 2011. Mark, I'll be honest, I don't know what Tetris Axis is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But it's a Tetris game, so there will be more Tetris games.
Yes, yeah, totally.
So maybe 2 Ds?
Maybe 3 Ds.
3 Ds, okay, great. Next, Pokemon Rumble Blast. Okay, so there were 2 of these Pokemon Rumble games that came out on the 3DS, Blast here and then World a little bit later on. And they're like sort of isometric view like action games where like every character, all the Pokemon are in like little toy styles and they like bash up against each other and fight.
Okay.
It seems like we're going to encounter a fair number of Pokemon like mini games or like side games. And I feel like Pokemon has really settled into what their game types are now. And if they're going to introduce a new game type, it's going to be something like Pokopia that has the capacity to be a huge game that everyone plays.
Yeah, I completely agree. Games like Pokemon Rumble Blast feel like they got left behind when Nintendo moved to a hybrid system and everything had to justify being like $50, $60, like something like that. I don't know that there's really space for these types of games that wouldn't really fit comfortably on mobile, but
right. I mean, what's interesting is like Pokemon obviously has a lot of those on mobile, right? Like that Pokemon Cafe remix and like the Pokemon Champions, right? And a couple other games where it's just like, oh yeah, they have these, sort of like not lower quality, but like, yeah, I kind of mean that. I mean lower quality games. They just go on mobile. So what do you think here?
I think this is maybe 1D.
This is 1D. Okay, great. Next up, you mentioned it earlier. Let's talk about it now. Super Mario 3D Land. You're right. So this is obviously the sort of like the precursor to Super Mario 3D World. It is different in that like the world map isn't quite as dynamic, and there's really just the one playable character in the form of Mario. And so there's no multiplayer, and there's no different characters with different movesets a la Super Mario Brothers 2. And as you mentioned, like does lean on the 3D presentation, but like honestly, not necessary, right? Like you could there are workarounds for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is a game that I like.
Yeah, this one is interesting because
it's a Mario game.
Because we have 3D World.
Yes.
Right, as an example of them. It was on Wii U. I know it's been ported to Switch, but it doesn't feel the same to me as like when they put Luigi's Mansion 2 HD on Switch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess what I'm saying is that could the Super Mario 3D World style games come back? Or do we think they were land? Because Nintendo does things in twos.
They frequently
maybe
do,
more often than they do trilogies. So, like, is 3D Land and 3D World them saying, we've done everything we want to do with this, like, Mario isometric stuff?
Yeah,
and
possibly.
Now we've put it to bed. Like, do we think... I think when we're putting our Ds on Super Mario 3D Land, we should
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... on the flip side, though, there's always going to be another Mario Day, right? There's always going to be another anniversary of Mario to celebrate. And, like, they just put out the Galaxy games. There'll be a new Mario movie to come out. Like, they're always going to want to put out a new Mario product that are new, in quotes. But they're not always ready to launch the next 3D Mario game, the next 2D Mario game. I sort of agree with you that I think that series is done, the 3D Land / World games, but I think we live in a world where they could put out a version of 3D Land remake.
Yeah. I think you're right.
It's not super likely. It's not 4D for sure.
Right. So maybe because it is a Mario game, it just feels so unlikely that it is going to be forever stranded.
Yes.
I mean, we got Mario Clash eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the Switch 2?
That's the Virtual Boy game.
I don't know. On the Switch 2. On the Switch 2, I might go 2Ds.
I think 2Ds is probably accurate. Yeah.
But I agree with you that someday we will see this game again.
But I think that is more likely than seeing a new entry in the 3D series.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Mario Kart 7. Obviously, there will always be new Mario Karts. But as far as 7 is concerned, like there's no... So how do we treat this?
Yeah, I mean... I mean, 7 itself, I think 1D.
Yes, 7 itself 1D. So let's go 1D/4Ds.
Right.
Okay. Yes. Because the game itself, there's no way that we'll ever see that remade or published or whatever. Is that interesting to think that like really outside of Mario Kart 8 that like they probably won't ever re-release or remake a Mario Kart game again?
Right. I mean, I think re-release. We're not counting Nintendo Classics,
no,
right?
Nintendo Classics is different.
Then yes,
different case.
I agree with you.
All right. Pushmo coming out at the end of the year, December 5th, 2011.
Yeah, puzzle block game.
Yeah, so I played Pushmo World on the Wii U, which is a fun game. It's there are a handful of these. There's Pushmo, Crashmo, and another one that will
Stretchmo.
Stretchmo, yeah. He's got like mascot qualities, right?
And these are intelligent system games.
Yeah. And so like it could be at any point that Intelligent Systems is like, yeah, let's make another one of those.
Yeah. But we don't really see, I mean, because to me this is kind of the equivalent of HAL Laboratories Box Boy.
Yeah. And which we'll also talk about.
And we saw a Switch entry of that, but again, it just doesn't, never say never, but it doesn't feel like they're interested in this size of game anymore.
Yeah, and that is so that is true. However, we've seen Nintendo like play with the price scale, right? Like Dragon Drive was a $40 game. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour was criminally a $10 game. But like if I wonder if they can get themselves or like convince themselves back into the space where they can put out a small puzzle game that has, 50 levels in it and like a couple simple mechanics, a pretty simple presentation, and charge $30 for it.
Right.
It just, where they're just in like a little bit different. It feels like they're in a little bit different space now.
Yeah, it just feels like it'd be worth the effort. Like if Nintendo wanted to do that, why? It feels like it would have to be driven by intelligent systems being like, we really want to do this. But yeah, I don't know.
I just like as I scroll through this list of games, I look at like the list of games in 2016 just published on the 3DS, and obviously this is like the last year before the Switch comes out, and there are barely any games coming out on the Wii U, but they published so many games in 2016 on 3DS alone, where it's just like, man, I'm sort of like hurting for them to get back to a place where they publish like 20 games in a year.
I know, they just can't do it anymore because games take way too much time. Even if you're like, yes, the Switch has a handheld mode, or the Switch 2 has a handheld mode,
right?
But it still requires HD graphics. It still requires that like level of fidelity is what people expect. I think it just takes too much effort. So I'm gonna say Pushmo. I personally think this is a 1D.
Yeah, it's a 1D. It's definitely not a no D. And then here I've sort of collected all of the 3D classics that Nintendo published. 3D Classics was a line of games that was going to be a like from the ground up remake of classic NES games, sort of represented in a style that was taking advantage of the 3D of the system. Nintendo had originally shown off about a dozen NES games with this sort of functionality. In the end, they only put out 6 of them, and I think only 3 of them are first party: Excitebike, Kirby's Adventure, and Kid Icarus. They also put out Urban Champion. You're right, 4. So Xevious and Twin Bee are from partners, but still is published by Nintendo. These were all developed by Akira.
Arika.
Sorry, yes, you're right. That's the Tetris 99 company, right? And
Endless Ocean.
And you're right. Thank you. And my understanding is that like through the development of these things that they kept trying to like make changes to the games or like make them look even better, and Nintendo was pretty firmly like, no, the
interesting.
Sprites.
Yeah.
And like there was the like original sizzle reel of the 3D classics included like Zelda and like some other games, and evidently like during the development of these things, like, these games are not made to be easily converted to 3D. Like they do a lot of cheats in them. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was another one that like in trying to rework it, it's like, no, these things don't like the planes aren't real enough to just like convert into 3D. So it ended up being a ton of work to make just these 6 games, and they sold them each for like $6 each, which made it confusing. Are they just the classic versions? No, these are brand new games that are also in old games. So they're like too expensive and not expensive enough at the same time to justify their existence. I would love if they put out a collection of these games, but they never will. And these are
this is another one I think waits for a new 3D Nintendo console, a new 3D something that allows for a way for this to be played. Because look, the 3D Classics version of Kid Icarus, we've sung the praises of endlessly because it's such a good way to play that game. But I don't think they'll put it out without 3D functionality.
Which is nuts, because without the 3D functionality, it is still so much improved on the original that like
they should just do an SP version on Nintendo Classics that is like, we fixed the jump.
Yes, we fixed the jump, and well, I was going to say, and you can save your game, but that's not necessary. You can just use save states anyway.
So yeah, I think this all 3D Classic series, this is a 1D. I don't think it's
any Ds. I think there's just no way
D.
It comes back.
Yeah, definitely not on Switch 2.
Well, and it's so weird that they were selling these 3D Classics at the same time that they also had a virtual console where they were just selling NES games.
Right.
So, weird. All right. Next, now we are moving into 2012 with the first game that Nintendo put out in the year, February 2nd, Sakura Samurai Art of the Sword.
I don't know what this is.
This is a downloadable only title that has some like cool samurai sword action that you're like triggering with the touchscreen. It looks neat. I think some of these characters are like featured in Smash Brothers in some capacity, either as like trophies or something like that. But it's cool. It's cool looking stuff. But I think this is a one-off and we'll never see it again.
Yeah.
So worth any Ds?
Well, I guess never say never, so we'll say 1D.
Very good. Next up, February 22nd, Dylan's Rolling Western. Let's take all of the Dylan games into consideration here. They made 2 more of these games on the 3DS, and it is the name of the studio, I cannot remember it, but I was watching a Did You Know Gaming video today where they were talking about the origin of the Dylan's Rolling Western games as a Goron game, a Goron rolling around game.
That makes so much sense. Vanpool is the name of the developer.
Vanpool, that's right. A small developer, and has a reputation for being like kind of unruly. Like Nintendo has a hard time working with them. But they were making a Goron rolling around game, and Nintendo was like, the gameplay's interesting, get the Zelda stuff out of there. It's not going to be a Zelda game. And so they invented this armadillo cowboy to do this, to be like the main character here. None of these games sell particularly well. They're all like of medium success. Never any of them got a physical release in North America. And we've not really heard hide nor hair nor weird armadillo scale of Dylan since.
You wonder what the economics were of 3DS eShop games. That they did make sequels, so at least the first one must have been like successful enough. The budgets must have been small enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, it is interesting because like Pushmo's an example of that. Dylan's an example of that. Box Boy, like there are a bunch where it's like it's a small game. They must not have cost that much to make. It sold enough, and they made a bunch of sequels on the 3DS, and we've not seen other than Box Boy and Box Girl on Switch.
So I think it's 1D.
I think it's 1D. Yep.
Kid Icarus Uprising. We've talked about this one recently.
March 23rd. Yes.
Just what are the chances in your mind that this sees the light of day on Switch 2?
I think kinda high. I think this is one of the, if you are like going shopping through the 3DS library and you're like, what makes sense here? What makes sense to release now and like really revamp and represent to gamers now? I think this is it.
Yeah, Kid Icarus Uprising. Sakurai's gone mysteriously quiet, hasn't he?
Wow.
Because he released his YouTube like finale a few years ago and then was like, by the way, all this time I did this years ago and I've been working on Kirby Air Riders.
Right. The Prestige.
And so if Kirby Air Riders was finished this last year, maybe, or do we think it was done even before that? Like, when do you, if you had,
interesting.
I can't remember if we know when Kirby Air Riders finished development, but like, what's Sakurai up to? It feels unlikely to me that he like retired because I don't know that he can.
Because what does he do if he's not working? Right. I know that he has said like, oh, it'd be a pretty big lift to remake Kid Icarus. I think someone could do it. I think I made this point on a previous episode, but like, I think he's more valuable to the Smash series than he is to literally any other series that he works on. So I think anyone could remake it.
Do we think this is 3Ds?
I think 3Ds.
Is that likely? Yeah.
Yes.
Up next is a game that I'm not familiar with called Quetzal's Corridors, which it appears to be described, not appears to be described, is actually described as a third-person on-rails Tetris, which sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting, and it's got like a sort of like Aztec aesthetic to it. I don't know. This is one of those like digital games where like they needed more like easy to play puzzle games or whatever, and so they published this. I say 1D.
I think this is a 1D. Yes. Now, Spirit Camera: The Cursed Memoir. This is interesting to me because it's a spin-off of the Fatal Frame series.
Yes.
And there was a time in the Wii U era where Nintendo like was publishing at least one Fatal Frame game. Was it a Wii U exclusive, at least for a time?
Well, and we just had a Fatal Frame game come out last year, right?
Yes, that was a remake, I think, of the second one, but that was on multiple platforms and was published by Koei Tecmo, not on all those different platforms.
Right.
This is kind of what we were talking about before, where it's like, oh, in the 3DS/Wii U era, Nintendo was publishing games that previously had been published, by somebody else, and they were making them Nintendo exclusives. So this specifically, like Spirit Camera: The Cursed Memoir,
I think at some point, right?
You think this game specifically?
I think this game specifically, Nintendo will not be publishing it, but like I think
it comes back.
I think it comes back.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
So I'm gonna say 2Ds on
Okay, yeah, I think that's I think that's fair.
Mario Tennis Open. I mean, again, it's the exact same as the Mario Kart 7, right? They will always make a new. Do we need just a new category that's like, we'll never see this game again, but there will be another one in the series,
right? In fact, there was Mario Tennis Fever,
right?
What did we do for?
We gave it 1D/4Ds.
I think that is what Mario Tennis Open gets as well.
All right, very good. Next up, New Super Mario Brothers 2.
The black sheep of a black sheep series, kind of.
Yeah, and a black sheep just in like or the second black sheep, like the way that the series is a black sheep is like not in a way that's related to sales,
and in any way.
They sold really well.
Yes.
It's just like now no one wants to play them or talk about them.
Well, and I feel like New Super Mario Brothers 2. You had New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, which is a really big deal because it was a return for 2D Mario. Mm-hmm. You had the Wii version, which was
introduced multiplayer,
and then you had the Wii U version, which sold incredibly well when it was put on the Switch.
Yeah, and sold pretty well for a Wii U game as well.
But New Super Mario Brothers 2, I mean, the game itself is just not that interesting.
Right.
The gold mechanic, like where it's like it's a gold coin bonanza, is just doesn't really pay off in any interesting way.
It doesn't really add up to anything. There's no like reason to get as many. Like you have a ongoing coin counter, but like it just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So it always, even at the time, it felt like a little bit of a shrug.
Yes.
And so I mean, this is I was going to say a D/4D, but I don't think that's true because I don't think we're going to get a new Super Mario Brothers game.
I still think it is dumb that Nintendo has not put out a new Super Mario Brothers All-Stars with 1, 2, and Wii like remade in the
totally
new Super Mario Brothers Deluxe engine. But otherwise,
Mario's gonna have a 45th anniversary in 4 years. So.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes, but otherwise, 1D. Okay. Art Academy Lessons for Everyone came out in October of 2012. There are a handful of Art Academy games in here. There's like a Disney one. Whatever. These are done.
Yeah, I think they're just victims of like budget and time. Like I just don't think Nintendo has the space to develop things like this anymore.
Yeah, which is a little bit of a shame, but also I didn't play any of these games.
Right.
So
yeah, I think 1D for Art
1D.
Academy. Crossword Plus.
I love it.
Sorry, you're getting 1D.
Sorry, Crossword Plus. Pokemon Dream Radar came out October 7th. This is it was like an AR game that lets you like view Pokemon in the real world using the camera and like with the gyroscope.
Okay.
To like place the Pokemon in space, and then you battled it. It was kind of Pokemon Go before Pokemon Go.
Oh, interesting.
Without the walking mechanic.
Okay.
But so in that way, I think Pokemon Go appeared, and then this thing disappeared forever because like. Why would you ever?
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough. So 1D.
1D, yes.
Okay. Now, Style Savvy. This is interesting.
And we will take all the Style Savvy games into consideration here. The first two of them are released physically, and then the third one is digital towards the end of the life cycle.
So these are not developed by Nintendo, right? These are just published by Nintendo? I believe that is correct,
yes.
And so so the last one that we got was on 3DS, Styling Star. And so now I want to look up the developer and see if they have continued the series, but under a different name.
So the developer is Sin Sophia?
Okay, so on the Switch, they released a game called Fashion Dreamer.
Interesting.
Developed by Marvelous. So I wonder if this is an example of like, and they're also the developers of Fitness Boxing 3, your personal trainer, which Nintendo does. So they still have a relationship with them. And in 2026, they released a game called Magical Craft, My Enchanted Dress Shop on the Nintendo Switch. I guess what I'm saying is like
not published by Nintendo, but
also published by Imagineer. So that seems to be like their new partner. But so maybe Style Savvy itself.
Right.
Maybe Nintendo has moved on from that, but the games
it lives on
still,
in some way. And also, it doesn't really make sense that you would re-release any of these games. Like you always just like chase the next one. So let's call this 3D.
Sure.
Okay. Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask. Again, let us take all the Professor Layton games here sort of collectively. Nintendo is no longer publishing these games. They did on the 3DS, but it's just Level 5 is
I think that's right.
Publishing the new one. The World of Steam. Is there
the New World of Steam?
New World of Steam, yes.
I think so yeah, this is kind of like a 4D, but how we had a D for Mario Kart 7 and Mario Tennis Open. I feel like this could be like 2D. Like, could we see the old Professor Layton games ported?
Why haven't they? I mean, it must just be an issue of like budget and time and stuff. And,
yeah, maybe.
But it is a lot of work actually to bring assets from a 3DS game to a Switch game, right? Like the difference in fidelity is huge,
right? And like figure out but they are making a new one that possibly they could reuse the engine.
That game was supposed to come out like 4 years ago, though. I mean, but like, it's taking them forever.
But also, you also have to figure out. Okay,
remember Deca Police?
Before we had before we had a touch screen, and now how do we redesign this game? Because I'm assuming a ton of the puzzles take advantage of the touch screen.
But also, like, just make it use the touch screen on the Switch. Make it a handheld only.
Interesting. And I guess you could use, like, pointer controls if you wanted to play.
Or with just, like, a stick. Like, there are, like, we've done this. We've made touch games playable in non-touch formats.
It's only on the 3DS. It's never been released anywhere else. But I like, this is maybe 2D/4D because we know we're getting a new Professor Layton.
Yeah, I think 2D/4D is absolutely correct here. I will add that here.
Okay, Freaky Forms Deluxe, Your Creations Alive.
I'll be honest, I don't know what this is.
I'm not going to look it up. Let's just say 1D.
But no, let's just not even give it any Ds. Paper Mario Sticker Star. One of the more maligned games in the Paper Mario franchise. We will see new Paper Mario games, right?
Right.
Although it's been a little bit since the last new one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been about 5 years, 6 years. Did Origami King come out? I think it came out in 2020.
I think
it's been 6 years. So I was going to say maybe we're due, but we are just getting another Fire Emblem from Intelligent Systems. Not that they couldn't theoretically, and we don't know how long that one's been done.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I also, we got the remake of Thousand Year Door a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But was that 2024? Maybe
I think it might be.
And
yeah, it was the weird year.
Yeah, it was the weird year. That's right. So they could do. The thing is, if they're gonna remake another Paper Mario, it's gonna be Paper Mario, right?
Yeah, maybe. But they do have Color Splash and Sticker Star just kind of out there, and it feels unlikely to me that they'll be orphaned forever. But on the Switch too,
and Super Paper Mario as well.
Oh yeah, and Super Paper Mario.
I feel like if they were going to start remaking them, they would do the original first, and then Super, and at that point we're so far away from.
Yeah, Super feels like a real candidate for to be on Nintendo Classics pretty soon. Oh, there is no Wii on Nintendo Classics.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just doing all the math.
No, you're right. So yeah, they would. I mean, at this point, it would have to be a remake. Actually, but I don't know if they do 2 Paper Mario remakes back to back. I think we're going to have a new one before we have another remake.
I think that's probably right. However, we did get the Super Mario RPG and Paper Mario
right within 6 months of each other.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no predicting these guys.
So I think Sticker Star itself. I think this may be a D/4D situation because I think Sticker Star isn't going to show up on Switch 2.
But I think it's maybe even less likely that it's as likely as as Mario Kart 7 being remade. We'll leave it as a D/4D. All right. Next is Crashmo came out in November. I think we just put it in the pile with Pushmo and Stretchmo.
Yeah.
And then Fluidity Spin Cycle, which is a sequel to a WiiWare game that is all based on this fluid that's sloshing around and you changing tilting things around to get it to activate switches and stuff like that. Kind of a cool premise. We're never seeing this again.
Yeah, I think this is a 1D.
Yeah. All right, we've made it through 2012. On to 2013. Tokyo Crash Mobs. I wanted to talk about this one a little bit because it is a strange game. This came out in January of 2013. It's a puzzle game that uses photographs and full motion video of human actors in its puzzles. I think it's a little like Picto Nico if they took all the pictures for you.
Oh, okay.
Which is interesting and a weird aesthetic that Nintendo dips into from time to time. That's kind of like the Tomodachi Life thing where you're oh, this is just a photograph of that food is going to represent the food in this. So cool. I wish there was some place where we could play these WiiWare / digital only 3DS games.
Yeah.
Just because they're also strange. They're also strange, Mark.
Mm-hmm. But sadly, I think this is a 1D.
I think it is a 1D.
Okay, Fire Emblem Awakening.
Okay, I mean, I think it's my favorite game on the 3DS. I don't know that there's any other competition for the number 1 slot. It's my favorite Fire Emblem. I think Fire Emblem had a history for a while of remakes, and they haven't really done that in a while, right? Since a game that we'll talk about later on here, Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia, Echoes Shadows of Valentia.
Yeah, they even had a whole branding for remakes. And you know what I mean? And then we only ever got the one.
Yeah, very strange. I think they gotta remake this at some point.
It's gotta live on in one way or another because this is a beloved game. This is the game that kind of made Fire Emblem a real series of going concern. We now basically have
in North America.
It kind of like kept the series alive.
Totally.
Because it broke out in Japan too. It broke out in a bigger way than the series had been before. Now we basically get a Fire Emblem thing every year. Like, it's basically an annual series.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since the last. Engage was what, like 2023.
But we had Shadows on mobile, like
sure,
not that long ago.
Yeah, you're right.
Like maybe
Shadows
like last year,
or maybe earlier this year. We're not going to look that up.
I think it was around Tokyo Game Show last year.
Okay, that
it
makes
was
sense.
just kind of like a surprise release, is my memory. But yes, Fire Emblem Awakening specifically. Obviously, we have a new Fire Emblem in just a few months,
right?
But Fire Emblem Awakening specifically, I don't think it's going to show up on Switch 2. But I do believe they will remake it someday.
I agree with that.
Although they're just not that into remakes with Fire Emblem, surprisingly. There's been that rumor of like a Fire Emblem remake.
Right, of one of like the Super NES ones, the Genealogy of the Holy War. Or like Thrakia 733 or whatever. These games have good names.
So I think this is maybe 2Ds and then 4Ds.
4Ds. Yeah. Have we ever done a rank the Fire Emblem games just by subtitle?
No, but that would be fun.
That's good. We'll do that at some point. Next up, Brain Age Concentration Training, which is, another in the Brain Age series. There was a Brain Age for the Switch that was not released in North America.
Yes, and they did release a Brain Training. No, not Brain.
Big Brain Academy.
Big Brain Academy. That's right, in North America.
And like we have talked about it on the show before, but like the sort of thinking is that, they make these claims about like it trains your brain in minutes a day, and like it has these, it tells you
health
what your
connotations that maybe Nintendo of America doesn't want to.
Can't really support in like a court of law.
Yeah, exactly. I think Brain Age is maybe a series that is asleep, but I think it could come back at any time. This feels like a 2D to me.
Sure, 2D for the
Brain
series.
Age, yeah.
But this game in particular, no, there's no chance of it coming back.
Right. I don't think that there's any utility in like remaking.
Right.
Or porting like an old.
So I think it is just Ds, just 2Ds for the
Okay.
And then Harmonite. We talked about this recently.
Yeah, that's right. It's a platformer that was developed by Game Freak, eShop exclusive, and it's all based on like music, and you're jumping and stabbing to the rhythm of the music. I owned it. It's cute. It's pretty fun. The music's pretty good. But this feels like a lot of like the Game Freak games that they create outside of Pokemon, where they're just like, this one's for us, and it doesn't become a series or anything. I think this is unlikely to be ported.
Yeah, I think it's probably a 1D. It goes in the same bucket as like Little Town Hero. Remember Little Town Hero?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh yeah, that's a game that existed, and now we'll never talk about it again. Next up is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which has already been released on the Switch in 2024. And Mark and I rather enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's right. Despite my big thumbs down when it was revealed, it turned out that I could not put it down. I think this is just a straight 4D because it's on Switch.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we for sure will have a new Luigi's Mansion game in the Switch 2 generation.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity.
Now, this one specific, like Gates to Infinity, who knows? But Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, we did get one. We got a remake.
We got a remake of the Red Team or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah, but
in 2020 or 2021 on
that's
Switch.
Right. But we've not seen a new entry in the series. I think this is the last time that we see the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series.
But it feels to me like another sleeping series that could come back at any time.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want to give it, well, it looks like, I kind of want to give it a 2D.
I think 2D for the series is okay. I do think that like by and large, this is like because Mystery Dungeon is like its own genre of thing, right? That like Pokemon knows, or like I think they're branching out into other like new stuff. It's just still like interesting that like what's the name of the fighting game? The one that was like Tekken.
Oh, Pokken
Tournament, yeah. That like that was a kind of big deal in the Wii U, and then move it into the Switch era, and then it's just like, nope, no more. We're done with that. Like I think that's probably going to be like the lifespan of Pocopia as well, right? Where they're like, okay, we did this, it was successful. Maybe we don't revisit this again.
Pocopia is interesting because it has sold so well.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That will be interesting to see.
But yeah, I think it is possible that we see another one. Next game on the list here is Dylan's Rolling Western: The Last Ranger, which we've talked about the Dylan series in general. Lego City Undercover: The Chase Begins.
Yeah, let's just talk about Lego City Undercover as a series, because there was the Wii U exclusive for a while, and then there was Lego City Undercover: The Chase Begins on the 3DS. So there was a moment where Lego City Undercover was like Lego and Nintendo were working closely together on this franchise,
which itself was like a little bit of a parody of like Grand Theft Auto, and was just being like an open world Lego game. And now, like, I don't know, I feel like the Lego brand is so like successfully entwined with all of their like IP partners,
right?
That like, I guess I don't know how that like Legends of the Dark Knight or whatever it's called, Legacy of the Dark Knight, the Lego game, the Batman Lego game that came out this year, it was well reviewed. I don't know if people bought it and played it, but and the Skywalker saga, I don't know if they need to go back to a like undercover.
I feel like there was a time that maybe peaked like 5 or so years ago, maybe even longer, maybe like 8 years ago, where where Lego was like, we're doing different types of games.
Yeah.
You know, like they were being really experimental with video games, and I feel like that era they've retreated back to more just like having.
Well, they do still have games. They still have like their Lego Builder games, right, or whatever, the Lego World. I forget exactly what. Like they have a handful of other. I just don't know if they're ever going to revisit the Lego City Undercover.
Yeah, I think this is maybe 1D, especially since it's so tied up. Although I think they did port it to Switch or other platforms.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, Mario and Donkey Kong minis on the move.
This does not feel like a series like Mario and Donkey Kong. Oh, this is not Mario versus Donkey Kong. This is Mario and I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, so we did talk about this during Mario versus Donkey Kong month last year, 2 years ago, whenever that was, when the remake of the original Mario versus Donkey Kong came out. This is a game that is different from the like main series in that like it's still minis and like puzzles and stuff, but the puzzles are 3-dimensional and it's presented from like an isometric view. This is even like a dead end within this franchise, which itself has also totally dead ended. I say no D's on this one.
Oh, okay.
That they're never going to remake it, and we're never going to see another game in the vein of Mario and Donkey Kong minis on the move.
Or Mario versus Donkey Kong?
We might see Mario versus Donkey Kong, which has representation later in the list.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, no D's for Mario and Donkey Kong.
No D's for this one.
Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D.
May 24th, 2013.
Of course, was a remake of the Wii game and then released on Switch as Donkey Kong Country Returns HD in 2025, like January. And so I think this is...
And has since been updated to include a new playable character.
With Dixie Kong.
Which I don't understand.
In the past, like, 9 months, did that happen?
I don't know. Yes. I mean, that's right.
I think that it is both unlikely that we have a new Donkey Kong Country game.
Okay.
And it is because it was released on Switch, it counts as a Switch 2 game.
Right. So I think this is obviously a 4D because it has been released.
Yeah.
But you think we're not going to get a new Donkey Kong Country game?
I think it is unlikely, yes.
You think in a post-Bonanza world that has changed what Donkey Kong is enough that, like, we're not going to see another, that, like, Country is a step backwards?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, now that you're saying it, maybe I don't... maybe there is wiggle room, because I could see them eventually wanting to go back to, like, oh, hey, here's Dixie. Well, but they were in Bonanza. So,
right.
So no, yeah, maybe I really do feel that Donkey Kong Country is done.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. And we will at some point have a funeral for Donkey Kong Country. I think we have to.
I think we have to.
I don't know what the trigger for that will be, but I think we have to do it. Next up is Animal Crossing New Leaf in June of 2013.
Now, I feel like this is Mario Kart, where
absolutely
there will, of course, be a new Animal Crossing, but will they port New Leaf forward? No.
Right. Yeah, so 1D/4D. Next up is Mario and Luigi Dream Team. A game, Mark, that your 3DS has emblazoned on the side of it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I have the 3DS XL Special Edition.
Now, the 3DS is also home to several Mario and Luigi remakes, one of which is notoriously like the worst selling first-party game maybe ever. It sold like 70,000 copies. I own one of them. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, should we do all of Mario and Luigi together?
Yeah, let's do all of Mario and Luigi together.
Okay, so
Brothership was a surprise when it came out.
Brothership was a surprise when it came out, and I wonder how it did relative to expectations.
Sure.
Because I feel
it was also coming out during a weird year.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, totally. There'd been a lot of Mario RPGs recently.
Yep, and then here was a brand new one, which like was feeling a little bit different from what people expected from the Mario and Luigi games.
Yeah, I feel like it was just kind of like neither here nor there as far as reception goes. I think people thought it was fine. Big fans of the Mario and Luigi series didn't seem to love it, but didn't seem to hate it. It just didn't seem to elicit much reaction from anybody. I find with how devastatingly bad the end of their let's remake the Mario and Luigi RPGs, you know,
that they're never going to do that again.
Like it killed Alpha Dream. I just do not see a world where they're like, let's try it again.
Right. Well, and like, you know, they're really the only game in the series really that people are like revere and are like, yep, this is a great game is Superstar Saga, right? And that's a game that we played for an episode of NCS Arcade, and not to spoil anything, but Mark hated it, didn't finish it. And like, I think it is just kind of a tough hang now. So, I think
this is 1D
for the series.
I think it's 1D for the series. I think Brothership had its moment.
Right.
And it doesn't feel to me like the reception to that was enough for them to be like, this is worth going back to.
Yeah.
At least on the Switch too.
I agree. Next up, Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. I think for all the Pokemon games, the mainline Pokemon games, it's a 4D that at some point it'll be remade, and a 4D that there will be another entry in the series.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like that is the cadence on which these things happen.
Okay, Mario Party Island Tour. This is another 1D, 4D to me.
I totally agree with that. Just there will always be Mario parties. They don't remake them though.
Right.
Next up, The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Love this game. I think this is a game that waits until there is an opportunity in the future to present it in 3D again.
Oh, really? Okay. You think so? You've mentioned that a couple times. Do you think that at some point there will be another like Nintendo thing that is presenting in 3D?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when the Virtual Boy came back, it's like, yeah, maybe someday they're possible, like, I'm going to sell you a peripheral that has glassesless 3D, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to play A Link Between Worlds. I mean, could they remake it and just be like, we're just going to remake it without the 3D? That is possible to me.
Because I feel like that's in the same vein as like Skyward Sword, right? That like they took a game that required like the Wii and the Wii Motion Plus that was like so specific to that hardware, and then basically just made you do the same stuff again, but with the Joy-Con.
But they added a way for you to play it, you know, on a Switch Lite or something with regular controls. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could be sold on the idea that they would remake A Link Between Worlds.
I think a remake of A Link Between Worlds is more likely than either of the DS Zelda games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're never going to remake Zelda 2, although they should.
So,
or the original NES Zelda. Isn't it weird that they've never... I mean, I guess there's the BS Zelda from Satellaview.
No, it's like a sacred text.
It's
like
true.
Them... Although, I was going to say it's like them remaking Super Mario Brothers, but they have. It's called Super Mario Brothers All-Stars. And also, you know, like they've done it multiple
Super Mario
times.
Brothers Deluxe. Yeah. they do it a lot. Yeah.
So maybe. Link Between Worlds specifically, what do you think? Switch 2, what is the likelihood that it
I'm
gets
going to go 2D/4D.
Okay. We move into 2014. Chibi Robo Photo Finder.
I mean, this was a Chibi Robo tie-in that had like you took photographs with the thing. We're never seeing this again.
No, I don't think so.
In fact, I don't think we're going to talk about another Chibi Robo game later in this list. I don't think we ever see that.
I don't think. Yes, I agree. Bravely Default. So this has had a remake on Switch, right?
Yes, it did. But obviously no longer being published by Nintendo, but just Square Enix directly. And they put out a sequel, Bravely Default 2. So yeah, I think it's we have to count it as 4D.
Now, Inazuma 11, the soccer anime series that's developed by Level 5, now published by Level 5. This had an entry on Switch not that long ago.
Yeah, so I think
long in development. So I think this also
counts as a 4D. Did you know, coming out in February 13th of 2014, Steel Diver Sub Wars?
Yes,
they made a
sequel. Ugly head again.
Yes, they made a sequel to Steel Diver as a free to start multiplayer game. I mean, this game we won't see.
Yeah,
and I think the series is kaput. Never going to see that again.
Then we have Professor Layton and the Azran Legacy, which I think is the same as the previous Professor Layton.
Yep,
we talked about before.
Yoshi's New Island, a famously maligned entry in the Yoshi's Island series. Obviously, we will see more Yoshi games
and have
in the mysterious book. I don't think they're calling them Island ever again, though.
Oh, I feel like the branding could come back.
You do.
I think, again, the same way that they did like Yoshi's New Island, although maybe the fact they did Yoshi's New Island and nobody liked it is maybe enough.
Because since then it's been Woolly Worlds and Crafted Worlds and Mysterious Books.
And Mysterious Book, is kind of like playing with the art style a little bit.
Yeah.
Like illustrated in a
I feel like that's
way.
part of the DNA
of
a Yoshi
you're right.
game.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, I think this is 1D at best.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
We get a new Pokemon battle game, Pokemon Trozai. Pokemon Battle feels possible to me that this could come back.
But this is Pokemon Battle Trozai. Trozai is like a puzzle game. It's like a puzzle.
It's not the name of a Pokemon?
Nope.
Trozai is not a Pokemon?
Nope. It's like a puzzle and dragon style game. Okay. Another one where I mean, first of all, who cares? But also, I don't think they're ever going to go back to this.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
So that's maybe a 0D.
Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Yes.
I think this is...
It's trapped there forever.
It's trapped there forever. I mean, we'll give it 1D, like a pity D, but truthfully, I think it's a no D. I don't think Rusty's Real Deal Baseball ever resurfaces.
No, as a franchise or as a... And, Rusty, obviously, we love, but it is just so tied to every single thing that the 3DS does.
Yeah.
And the novelty of those things, it was also such a big part of it. Buying the games as part of the game, and that's not interesting anymore. And it
wasn't like successful enough at all to like to try to like represent.
Right. If they made a new Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, it would sell 2 copies, one to me and one to you.
Well, we both might buy like multiple.
True, we might buy
the Japanese special edition.
We would, of course.
Yeah.
And then digital and physical.
Yeah, so
they won't even release physical.
They probably at least sell 5.
Yes.
Okay. Disney Magical World, they seem to kind of be out of this business. Like Disney is, or as in like Nintendo publishing these things.
Yeah, well, and in some ways, I think Disney's out of that business too. That like they just there was the Disney Illusion Island that came out a couple years ago, and obviously they've got Dreamlight Valley and Speedstorm. They're doing okay with their like Disney stuff without Nintendo being involved. And also, I don't know what Magical World is.
Up next was Kirby Triple Deluxe. You never know with Kirby. I think a Kirby game is always ripe for remake. Yeah, and I mean, we're hurting for like a new Kirby something. Last year, there was no...
Well, Air Riders.
Yeah, of course.
But no like platforming Kirby game.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But that was last year. We're on this year now. Let's take a Planet Robobot into consideration here as well. It's a game that comes out a little bit later.
That has been rumored to have a remake, for Switch.
And Triple Deluxe was a well received Kirby game, not as well as Robobot. Or maybe it was at the time, but Robobot's legacy is just like a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
I think at any time Nintendo could announce that they're doing a remake.
3D.
I think it's 3Ds. Yes.
Specifically for Triple Deluxe. Next up is Mario Golf World Tour.
It has to go in the same category as
1/4.
Yep, 1/4. Tomodachi Life. I think this is 4 stars.
4 with a bullet.
4 Ds rather. The Ds became stars because, and also I think that's not the last we're going to see of Tomodachi Life. It was a big hit.
It's been a huge success. Yeah, I feel like it's enough for this generation. Like I don't think we're going to get a Switch 2 sequel, but
also we might.
Do you think so?
It sold really well.
It just doesn't feel like Nintendo's fashion anymore to do that. It's like, hey, we have the one.
Yeah,
I mean, you could argue because it was released on Switch, but 40% of, what was it, like 40% of people who bought it in those initial 4 weeks was on Switch 2. So I feel like that may be enough for this generation.
I'll agree, barring however long these generations actually go, but we will 100% see another Tomodachi Life game before we die.
Yeah.
Unless that happens.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless it happens soon. Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, came out August 29th, 2014. This one, that's got to be in Wright's hell, right?
Yeah, you would think so. And it's been a while since we've had a new Ace Attorney game. So I think, I know we said,
although Capcom does like collecting and representing those things.
Yeah, but with Professor Layton, I guess my feeling is that we said that it makes a ton of sense for the other Professor Layton games to be ported. This one feels less like the least likely.
It just seems like there'd be hurdles.
So I guess maybe 2 Ds, 1D.
Let's go 2 Ds.
Okay.
Keep the dream alive.
Speaking of which, DD's Drum Dash Deluxe. DDD's!
Right.
Drum Dash Deluxe.
Drum Dash Deluxe, which is obviously asking for 5 Ds. No, Drum Dash Deluxe, 6 Ds.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a digital only, King DDD minigame. Let's not even talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, you occasionally get a Dream Buffet or, the fighting game. I can't remember what those are called. Kirby Clash, maybe.
Yeah, we've got a couple more games like that coming up here, but
so I believe it is possible that on Switch 2 we're going to get a random Kirby minigame thing.
I mean, if we are putting these in the bucket Buffet of bullshit Kirby game, then for sure we're going to get another one.
Yeah, that's the bucket. That's the bucket. Super Smash Brothers for Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah.
1D, 4D.
Yeah, it is.
Although, is it 4D? Are we going to get a new Smash Brothers on Switch 2?
And does a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Ultimate count?
And right. Sure.
And what does that even mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Should we do $1 million bet? Do you think, well, actually, do we have opposing positions? Because that's kind of necessary for $1 million bet. Do you think that there will be a new Smash Brothers for Switch 2?
I think there will be a new game called Super Smash Brothers something. But I don't think it'll be like a sequel to Ultimate. I think it's going to be something different. I think they're going to swerve with it.
I think I am in the camp now that I do not think that there is going to be a new Super Smash Brothers game on Switch 2.
Let's make that $1 million bet then. I think there will be, but it'll be different. You think there won't be. If they just do Ultimate 2, then we both lose the $1 million.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
That's right. Up next is Fantasy Life.
We got a new Fantasy Life game.
Yes, that's right. On Switch, not that long ago.
And on Switch too, right?
Maybe.
Fantasy Life Eye, The Girl Who Steals Time.
Did they do a Switch 2 edition, or did it release?
I believe they did a Switch 2 edition, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's, and obviously no longer published by Nintendo, but that's just a 4D,
oh, you're right.
I think.
They did.
Pokemon Art Academy. We've talked about Art Academies. Moving on. Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. Those are remakes of Sapphire and Ruby, right?
Could be.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense to me.
Well, let's not talk about remakes of remakes.
Okay.
And then obviously there will be more Pokemon games. Ultimate NES Remix.
Oh,
itself a compilation.
The way we were,
yes, itself sort of a compilation remake / bundling of the 2 NES Remix games on Wii U. This that same company that we were talking about. That I called Akira. That
Arika. I do not believe that is true.
No, it's a different company, but they're the ones that made Nintendo World Championships NES edition.
So NES Remix, according to Wikipedia, was developed by Nintendo EAD Tokyo.
Oh, interesting.
But I know, but NES,
Nintendo World Champion.
Thrill as we Google.
Yeah, real-time Googling.
Okay, here we go. That was developed by, come on, Internet, don't fail me now, Indie Zero. So, but maybe it could, I genuinely don't know. They do definitely feel a kinship.
Yes, for sure.
But sadly, I think...
I know.
How fun would this be if it becomes like, if they put these on Nintendo Switch Online?
It'd be perfect.
It'd be so good.
Yeah.
But sadly, I think this is a 1D.
I mean, Nintendo is always going to find a way to like repackage the classic NES games and like convince you to, play World 1-1 again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it won't be an NES remix. All right, now we're on to 2015. Mark, we're getting through it.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D.
Yeah, February 13th. Itself a remake of the Nintendo 64 game. Are we going to be following the 3DS playbook here and remaking this Nintendo 64 game?
Right, where it's like, hey, we have the Ocarina of Time engine. We did all this work.
Right.
Should we just hand it off to Grezzo? I guess we don't know who's developing the Ocarina of Time remake. I'm assuming it's being done in-house, but there's no reason that
there's
that
no
has
reason
to be
that would be true.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So do we also just be like, hey, Grezzo, now move on to Majora's Mask 3D? You're shaking your head no.
I don't think so. But like I also am like, just never count out a remake of a Zelda game.
I know, and
especially a 3D one, because then at that point that'll be the only 3D Zelda game to not be remade.
Well, and you would have
Isn't that crazy.
That is crazy. Well, but also you would have Ocarina of Time in 2026, remake in 2026.
Yeah.
Sometime in the fog of the future, in the next like 4 years.
Yes.
Right. By 2030, we're gonna have a new 3D Zelda game.
Right.
And then from like brand new, but then you'll need something. You'll need something to close out the Switch 2 generation. So the logic is there, but my heart says no, it's not going to happen. Ocarina of Time remake is special.
Yes,
and they are not going to just move on to Majora's Mask afterwards.
I think 2. I think this is 2Ds. I think it is possible, but it is by no means a gimme. Next up is Pokemon Shuffle, which comes out February 18th. This is another like puzzly kind of game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. 0 or yes, and I don't care.
Yeah, let's go with. I mean, it's on mobile, so I think.
Okay, great.
So I think it's unlikely to come to Switch 2.
All right.
Codename Steam. We love to talk about this one.
We do love to talk about this one. They're never bringing this back.
No.
It was developed by Intelligent Systems. It is a tactics style game. But like, if they're gonna let Intelligent Systems make a tactics game, it's gonna be Fire Emblem or Advance Wars
or something crazy like Codename Steam again. But
yes.
I feel like Codename Steam is a relic of that handheld budget era,
yes,
where it's like, hey, we can do this for a lot less than the fidelity would take for us to develop this on the Switch 2.
Hey man, if you were trying to make John Henry in today's polygons, it would cost you so much money.
Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars.
Yeah, so now let's take the rest of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games that we're going to approach here in sort of a collective, because there's this and there's like Mario Amiibo, like mini Mario Amiibo and Friends. I don't know, it doesn't matter what it's called. But they did a lot of like attempts at like free to play or like just slightly more accessible versions of Mario versus Donkey Kong. And I feel like they burned out on it.
Yeah, I feel like they were able to squeeze what they were going to get out of it with that one remake.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine them remaking any of the sequels or any of these eShop games or anything like that.
Yeah, I do sort of hold out hope in my heart that like they will make a new Mario versus Donkey Kong style game at some point, but I don't want it to be like part of the minis path of stuff. Like I want a like level based puzzle platformer.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But also I don't really know what the market for that is outside of like the remake of the one they already did.
So I think this is 1D. Maybe?
I think 1D, yeah. And even for the series, I think probably the series is gone.
Fossil Fighters Frontier. So there are 3 Fossil Fighters games, all published by Nintendo, not developed by Nintendo. It's like around digging up and extracting dinosaur fossils, and then you like revive them and use them to battle. I think this is a series whose time has passed.
I think so. I think so too. Which is a shame because I have come to realize that if you want me to like a game, let me dig, right? Shovel Knight, Mina the Hollower, Donkey Kong Bonanza. Let me dig.
And the soundtrack for those games are pretty good.
Sure.
You'll occasionally see tracks show up on like YouTube mixes. Speaking of franchises whose time I think has passed, Box Boy.
Yeah, what a sad case of the Box Boy.
Had a good run, 4 solid games.
Yep, 4 solid games. They're virtually identical.
Hey, on the Switch one, you can put mustaches on boxes. So,
you're right.
Yeah.
And you can play as Box Girl. So, yeah, I think this is you're right. A 1D for the franchise. This will apply, of course, to Box Boy, to Bye Bye Box Boy, and Box Boy.
Yes.
Which I think is in order 1, 3, and 2. All right, next up, Pokemon Rumble World.
I feel like we've set our piece on Pokemon side games.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, which comes out April 10th, 2015.
Hey, this is a 4D, baby.
I mean, it's a remake of a Wii game already. The original Wii game got remade on Switch in 2020. Then that got a Switch 2 version in 2026. This is maybe the rare 5th D.
Yeah.
Stretchmo, we've already talked about Stretchmo and Crashmo. So, whatever we said earlier.
Puzzle and Dragons Z, Puzzle and Dragons Super Mario Brothers Edition. So Puzzle and Dragons, there was a time like 6-7 years ago where it was like an insanely successful puzzle game.
Yes.
I am guessing it's still around, but I just don't feel like you hear about it at all
Yeah,
anymore.
it's something that's totally fallen off my radar. The Mario plus Puzzle and Dragons Super NES game was recently added to NSO. I think it's Super NES. Maybe it's a Game Boy Advance. It's one of those. So I mean, I think that's as much of that as we see.
1D for Puzzle and Dragons.
Yep.
What about Dr. Mario? So this one specifically, Dr. Mario Miracle Cure. But do we live in a world where Nintendo would pay for a new Dr. Mario to be made?
What's interesting is we got a mobile game, right?
Dr. Mario World.
Yeah. They tried, and that game is bad. But I don't know. I think I want to put this at like 2 or 3D. That I think we will see for the franchise. Not necessarily for Miracle Cure.
Yeah.
That we'll see it at some point.
Yeah, I feel like this is a maybe D/3D because I don't think we ever see Miracle Cure. But I think it's possible Dr. Mario lives. Dr. Mario 99. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, I would love a Dr. Mario 99. Okay, next up is what is this? LBX, Little Battlers Experience. I'll be honest, Mark. I don't know what this is.
It appears to be
another level 5 game.
Okay. I think it's based. Okay.
Oh, there was based on like an
anime called Danball Senkai, and there was a sequel series called Little Ballers Experience W, and a final chapter called Little Battlers Experience Wars. Anyways, this is 1D.
Yeah, we're in over our skis on this one. We're just gonna call it 1D. All right. Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. Shocking that we did get Happy Home Paradise with Animal Crossing New Horizons. I still think weird that it's on its own release, but I think they will continue. There will be a Happy Home something.
Yes, I think this
with
is
the next
a
Animal Crossing.
D/4D.
Yes, I agree.
Chibi Robo Ziplash. We already talked about Chibi Robo. R.I.P. Chibi Robo.
Right, but this is the Chibi Robo that it's still not really like the Chibi Robo that's on GameCube. This is this is a like 2D side scrolling Chibi Robo game where you're doing like platforming with like the little plug as like a grappling hook. But yeah, it feels like it is never coming back.
Yeah, 1D.
1D, The Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes,
now
October 23rd, 2015.
We really like this game. We really think it should be remade. But what do we think that the likelihood that Nintendo actually will remake it is? Because it was so poorly received. Unfairly maligned, I would say.
I will agree with that. I think we will get a 2D Zelda multiplayer-focused game at some point in the next 2.5 years, by the end of 2028. And I think that because we're seeing Nintendo do a lot of like, no, these are like multiplayer games. They want to get every inch they can out of game share. Like the sort of like drop in, drop out, support your friends nature of Splatoon Raiders is very appealing. You and I have both been doing the like sort of casual help, the occasional call for help. I think the Star Fox multiplayer is also like very easily shared and played. I think they'll do something in this vein. But Triforce Heroes itself is probably
Nintendo just is not in the business of being like, no, you were all wrong. This is great, and so we're doing it again.
Right,
we paid money to do it again.
Right,
and this time you're gonna like it. So yeah, sadly, I think it's a 1D.
But like sort of, I think 3D for the like sort of sub franchise.
I totally see what you're saying. Yeah, I could absolutely believe that.
Let's talk Yokai Watch.
Yeah, I think this is another franchise whose time is come and gone.
Yeah, and if it were to come back, it would not be published by Nintendo.
Yeah, it'd be level 5. So I think this is a 1D.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Badge Arcade.
R.I.P. We will never see this again.
Yeah, this is like Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Yeah.
It's just of its time. I could see them doing something like this again, but I think specifically Nintendo Badge Arcade with like the bunny and everything.
And it being like, well, and especially because Nintendo is so... There aren't themes on the Switch, and so like there would be nowhere for you to like place your icons, and like that's what the badges were in a Nintendo Badge Arcade. They do sell like new icons for you to use all the time with platinum points, but yeah, they're not gonna.
They're just not monetizing in this way anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Like this feels like from the time when they were like, okay, we're dipping our toes in sort of microtransactions and like mobile gaming type transactions just to see, can we do this in a Nintendo way? Do people like this?
Right.
And I feel like they have kind of figured out how they like to monetize things.
Yeah, and it's just not like this.
Yeah.
I would love to see the Nintendo Badge Arcade bunny again in the future. I want to see him and Rusty and Horse hanging out together.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's only in my sweetest dreams. Next up, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. We've talked about Mystery Dungeon already. And then Pokemon Picross.
We occasionally get new Picross games from Jupiter.
Yes.
But they don't seem to be in collaboration with Nintendo anymore.
But they're in collaboration with like everyone else now, right? Like
we have the Sega one, the
Capcom one, and there was a Bandai Namco one, where it's just like, why don't they get back? Because during the 3DS era, there's this one, and there's the which we'll get to in a bit, the Twilight Princess one, the My Nintendo Twilight Princess one. And obviously they have a relationship they had done Mario ones in the past.
Well, and we know from when the series was celebrating its like 30th anniversary or whatever, for interviews from it, that Nintendo, I think, owns the Picross game, or they co-own it or something.
They co-own the name.
And when it is Picross branded, Nintendo has to bless it in some way. But Nintendo doesn't seem interested anymore in doing direct collaborations.
Right.
So, it feels... But we do occasionally see these show up on Nintendo Classics. but I don't think that the 3DS era ones are likely to be resurfaced anytime soon.
Yeah. So I think like 0D for this specific game coming back.
Yeah.
But possibly 2D for like Nintendo's
that'd be
collaboration.
Fun if they do that. Yeah, if they decide to do that.
All right, now we're up to 2016, which is the freaking year for the
Luckily
3DS.
We've talked about a lot of these games already. So Mario and Luigi, Paper Jam,
which has the twin curses of being a Mario Luigi game and a Paper Mario game.
That's right.
And also like another like totally maligned game. We're never going to see this or a crossover between these series ever again.
Now Fire Emblem Fates.
Yeah, so Fire Emblem Fates, Birthright, and Conquest, the two different versions of it that they sold. And then there was a third scenario called Revelation, which was only available as DLC for either of the other two games. And you could get, and now obviously you can't buy it in any capacity unless you get the like collector's edition that had all three of them on the card. They won't, but this is a game that is so hurting for a remake or even just like a simple representation on Switch 2, because there's one whole like campaign's worth of this that is not, I mean it's playable, but like if you don't currently have it on your system, there's no way to get it. Like it is genuinely orphaned on nothing. But if they're gonna remake one of these games, it's gonna be Awakening. So
yeah,
it's kind of like a 0/4D because like we'll for sure get another Fire Emblem game. But
right,
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. And again, as we have not really seen them be that interested so far in remaking Fire Emblem games.
Right.
So,
like, and it's kind of crazy that there isn't a Switch 2 edition of Three Houses.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Although,
maybe they're just getting out of the way. Yeah. For Fortune's Weave.
Okay. Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. This series is dead.
Yeah. Yep.
R.I.P.
The IOC has seen to that.
Hyrule Warriors Legends.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think we will ever? So this is itself a remake of Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U, which was then
ported to the Switch. Like
ported
we did
to
get
the
a Switch
as a definitive edition in 2018. But since Koei Tecmo have landed on the Hyrule Warriors like Age of whatever, that's got to be so much better for their sales to like tie it to.
Yeah, for sure. But we also
don't have any more of those games.
Right. So, but maybe you do like a Hyrule Warriors, whatever the next Zelda game is.
Yeah.
But both Tears of the Kingdom and even though they did like a side story like Breath of the Wild, both of those really lending themselves well to
that's true
Warriors games in a way that like I don't know that the narrative of the new Zelda game will lend itself so perfectly.
Right.
This feels to me like it could have been 2 and done.
Right.
So I think maybe 2 Ds for Hyrule Warriors as a series living on.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. All right, we talked about my Nintendo Picross: The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. We talked about Bravely's second End Layer. That's just the first sequel to Bravely Default. Before they were like, no, just Bravely Default 2. Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge. That's the Mario versus Donkey Kong game that I was talking about. Pokemon Rumble World on here a second time, so I've made a mistake. Disney Art Academy. That's another one that's on here twice.
Is it? I don't think we've done Disney Art Academy. We did have an Art Academy game and we did have a Disney game.
You're right.
But this is a combination of 2 things we said will never come back.
That's right.
Kirby Planet Robobot.
Which we did touch on a little bit, but like I think we should maybe drill down into. I think this one is more likely to be remade than Triple Deluxe.
Yeah, and again, there have been persistent rumors that there is a Switch remake in the works for this.
So let's call that, if I forget what we called it in the first place, but I think this is probably like a 3D.
Yeah, 3D. I think so. Up next is Rhythm Heaven Megamix. I think this is a 1D/4D, especially because Megamix is like a combo version of the previous games, and we just got a new Rhythm Heaven game on Switch. So I think that's well taken care of.
And then in June 2016, Box Boy. We've talked about Box Boy. Next up, Metroid Prime Federation Force, August 19th, 2016.
Yeah, if Triforce Heroes, there's like a slight chance that it really could be remade because it's a good game.
Or even that they will do another take on that premise.
I mean, do you think that, because they did Hunters and then they were like, okay, let's let this sit for a decade. And now let's come back to the idea with Federation Forces. So do you think I guess it would be, it'd be this year, 2026. It'd be 10 years since Metroid Prime Federation Forces.
There's just no way. I mean, and like Metroid is, for as much as I think we and I in particular am like a champion for 4.
Yeah.
I think Metroid Prime as a franchise is on its heels right now. Right?
Yeah, I think so too.
It's on its back foot. And I don't think they want to set it up for another sucker punch.
So I think that if we bought Metroid Prime Federation Forces and played it together like we did Triforce Heroes, I bet it's a good game. I bet it would be fun.
I wonder if that's true. Just because like a first-person Metroid game on the 3DS, that doesn't scream great to me in the way that like a 2D Zelda does.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
You can take the cooperative multiplayer out of the equation entirely, and I'm already like, eh.
Right. I hear what you're saying. I think we should try it at some point in our lives.
I think you're right, but I don't think we should wait for a remake of it to come out.
No.
Because that's never going to happen.
Next up is another Style Savvy game, Style Savvy Fashion Forward. So we've set our piece on Style Savvy.
Next up is Picross 3D Round 2, which the first Picross 3D game was just on regular DS. I love Picross 3D. I don't know why they stopped making these.
What is Picross 3D? How does it work?
So there's like a cube that you rotate around.
Okay.
And you like chisel away, and it'll tell you like how many.
Oh, like that Peter Molyneux. Do you remember that game, like the Cube or whatever it was? Do you remember that? Okay, it was.
I kind of don't.
It was on mobile.
Uh-huh.
It came out maybe in like 2012, 2011, and it was this. The idea was like everybody in the world cooperatively together, like anybody who could download it.
Perfect Peter Molyneux pitch. Everyone in the world.
You download it, and you're all collectively working on just chipping away at this cube.
Yeah.
And then eventually, nobody knew when, you would have destroyed the cube. And I can't remember what happened. I mean, obviously, nothing incredible. Maybe you won something if you were the person that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was you were talking about
that's not what Picross
okay, interesting.
3D is.
I'm less interested now.
But I think we probably just don't see this ever again. They haven't done one in a very long time. So.
Up next is Dragon Quest VII Fragments of the Forgotten Past, and we just had a Dragon Quest VII reimagining. So
we sure did.
4D in its way.
Yeah, I think that's right. Obviously, no longer being published by Nintendo. I do, the subtitle Fragments of the Forgotten Past.
Mwah. Oh, it's good.
Especially versus Reimagined.
At least it wasn't Origins.
Yeah, that is true.
Did I buy Reimagined?
Great question.
I think it's possible.
I played the demo.
Oh, I definitely bought 7 on the 3DS.
Okay. And you bought 8 on the 3DS.
No, I think I just bought 7. Because 7, I think, is the one that I never got to a battle. I started, never got to a battle, and then was like, that's my experience with 7 Fragments of the Forgotten Past.
Yes.
Did I buy Reimagined? I think it's possible that I did. Yokai Watch 2, I feel like we've
talked about Yokai Watch.
Yokai Watch. Disney Magical.
Both bony spirits and fleshy souls. We will encounter in the following year.
Doesn't quite have the same ring as some of the Pokemon subtitles.
No. And the one that came out the next year is called Psychic Specters. What's happening over there on Yokai Watch?
Disney Magical World 2, we talked about the series.
This, yeah.
Mario Party Star Rush, we talked about Mario Party. Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Sun, we talked about Pokemon. And these had a second version back when they were doing that. And presumably, remake someday. Then Super Mario Maker for Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, it itself being a remake of the Wii U game. And we've obviously seen the sequels, Mario Maker 2 on Switch. I guess the kind of question here is, do we think Mario Maker as a franchise is dead?
I personally do. I think it's done. I think they've done what they're going to do with the reception of 2 just kind of being diminishing returns.
Yeah.
I think
which is also disappointing, just considering like that everything else in the transition from Wii to Wii U, or from Wii U to Switch, gets such a glow up in terms of like sale and critical reception and just like cultural footprint, and like for whatever reason another bite at the Mario Maker apple did not equal that.
I kind of think that part of it is
it's hard to make levels.
It's hard to make levels. That genuinely,
and discoverability is a nightmare.
Genuinely, the Wii U pad was perfect.
Yes.
For Mario Maker, and the Switch just couldn't replicate that. So yeah, I personally think Mario Maker is a finished franchise. I don't think we'll ever see a Zelda Maker. I think they've done what they want to do with that.
I think they still could do a Mario Kart Maker, and they're cowards for not even attempting. I'm going to give it 1D for the series.
A pity D.
I think it's possible that it comes back.
Okay.
But, we're on to 2017 now. Dragon Quest VIII, here we go. Journey of the Cursed King came out in January.
I believe Square Enix is going to take another shot at this game.
Totally.
It's a beloved game. Dragon Quest VIII is really well loved.
It's sort of the one that people are waiting for, right?
Yeah, probably. But
and there's no weird hangups about it, right? It's not like 9 or 10, which is like a weird multiplayer game and then an MMO, that like it is the newest non-Dragon Quest 11 game that they could remake, right? So
yeah, so I think this is, of course, it won't be published by Nintendo, but I think this is like 3Ds.
Yeah,
I think we
so
probably
too.
see this in the Switch 2 generation. Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World.
First of all, I don't like that they put Poochie at the beginning of this game title, because it's Yoshi's Woolly World.
Right.
It can be Yoshi and Poochie's. No, it should be like Yoshi's Woolly World featuring Poochie or something. Poochie should not get he shouldn't be above the title, is my point. It's a remake of the Wii U game from 2015.
Yeah, I think that we do not see this series continue on Switch 2 or ported to Switch 2.
No. Well, and especially because Crafted World, which is on Switch, is such a like continuation of a lot of the same ideas.
Yeah.
Just without the hyper specificity of Yarn. So yeah, I think 1D is appropriate there. Next up is Tank Troopers.
I don't know what this is.
So this is from Vitae Backroom, which is the same studio that did the Steel Diver games, and it is a local multiplayer only. So like, there's no online play, but you are it's 6-player actiony tank battles. So I think it was very much in line with the Steel Divers games. It's just you're in tanks instead of submarines.
Oh, I see. Yeah, this is a 1D.
This is nothing. Now, from this point forward, you have to remember that every game that we announce was released into a world where the Switch had already been released.
Okay, so the clock is really ticking.
The clock is really ticking on the 3DS.
Although none of us knew it at the time, because nobody knew how successful the Switch would be. And the first is Mario Sports Superstars. This is a sports game that is kind of like unusual for Mario sports games. It collects 5 different sports.
Is there like soccer,
baseball,
volleyball?
Tennis, golf, and horse racing?
Horse racing.
Yeah, random, right?
Yeah.
Because yes, that it would have like baseball, tennis, golf. There was already a tennis game. There was already a golf game.
Right.
And now this is like just a collection.
Here's my fear is that we're never going to get weird with Mario sports games ever again. And this is maybe like the last gasp of it.
Bring back a world where they could like show up in NBA Jam. Where it's just like,
give me that. Give me the Mario 3-on-3 hoops on the DS.
Oh, totally.
With that, it's full of Final Fantasy characters for some reason. Yeah, Mario's gonna hoop against a cactuar. Cool. Yeah, but no, I think we're done with that.
I think this is 1D/1D. Like, I don't think we're ever getting this one ported, and I don't know that we'll get a collection like this again.
I believe this game is also developed by Square Enix. Is that right?
No, this one is developed by Camelot.
Oh, okay.
With Bandai Namco.
Okay, all right.
Yes, but 3-on-3 Hoops was a Square Enix game.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Bye Bye Box Boy, the end of the Box Boy trilogy. We've talked about Box Boy. Next up, Team Kirby Clash Deluxe. It's one of those Kirby bullshit games.
Exactly. Those freaks are going to show up at some point, but maybe not this specific group of freaks. Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia. This is what we were talking about where it's like, hey, you set up a whole branding for remakes and then only used it the one time.
Yeah, this comes out in May of 2017. A pretty good remake of the second Fire Emblem game from the Famicom, Fire Emblem Gaiden from 1992. Which what a weird late Famicom game. 1992.
Oh yeah. And you played Shadows of Valentia, right? Yeah.
It's pretty good. They did a really nice job of remaking it and modernizing it, and basically just making it in the mold of the, at that point, modern Fire Emblem games.
Yeah, this feels like a 1D to me because Awakenings and Fates seem more likely to show up again,
right?
Versus yet another remake of Shadows of Valentia.
I honestly feel like, because we haven't had a remake since this game, right? We could, if the next, the Thrakia 733 or whatever, they may
hold that up at
yeah, that's right. And I'm wearing a rainbow afro wig. That they will give it, because both that game and Genealogy of the Holy War, which are like the two that are rumored, they have ungainly names that I think are unattractive to most players, right?
No, yeah, totally.
So I think the Echoes branding could come back.
No, I think you're totally right. That's a really good point. So 2Ds?
Let's go 2Ds.
For Echoes, specifically.
For Echoes, yes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, up next is Ever Oasis, which this is a original RPG that was developed by Grezzo, who Nintendo teams with a lot on Zelda projects. But this is an opportunity for them to kind of like do their own thing. And it was well reviewed, but I think just suffered from living in a post Breath of the Wild world. I just don't think it's sold.
And a post Switch world. Yeah.
Yes.
It didn't really make, and Grezzo has now found success making original Zelda games as well because of Echoes of Wisdom. Although I don't know if Nintendo considers that a success.
I have no idea what the expectations were, and but they
or
definitely
how well
seem
it's
to be
sold. Really, frankly, right?
Yeah, but they definitely seem to be the go-to Nintendo partner for Zelda games. Like it could be likely that they are developing the Ocarina of Time remake.
Boy, do you think so? Because like
the ones doing the actual like coding and development while Nintendo oversees it, kind of like Echoes of Wisdom. I think it's possible. I don't think it's going to be Nintendo. I would be surprised if it's in like fully Nintendo internal, because I'm assuming all those people are really busy working on whatever the new Zelda game is going to be.
It's interesting. It's just because like I don't think of Grezzo as like a graphical powerhouse kind of studio, and it seems like that is what they're going for with the Ocarina of Time remake.
Yeah.
And obviously what they did go with in Star Fox.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see when we eventually learn who is developing it. I'm sure Nintendo's obviously closely involved.
Yeah.
But do they have the manpower to like do it in-house? I kind of doubt it.
Also, when I draw that comparison to Star Fox, it's not as though Valen Studios, who had previously made the Mario Kart home circuit or whatever it's called,
Mario Kart Live circuit
there
or
we
something.
Go.
Yeah,
that they're known for like graphical fidelity either. So maybe that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You just hire the right people, right, and get the right contractors to do the art and stuff. Like, you staff up for it.
We'll see. We'll see. But Ever Oasis, I think, is a one and done.
Yeah.
Maybe a hidden gem, but I don't think it's one that will.
Yeah. No D's. I think.
Yeah. Kirby's Blast.
We talked about these types of games.
Hey Pikmin is Hey Despised. So I think this is probably no D's. Like, I don't even think Miyamoto would come to the defense of this game.
Yeah, well, and I was gonna say and we've not seen a Pikmin spin-off since, but obviously Pikmin Bloom is that, but it's a mobile game.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, and now that because I feel like in the 3DS era, or when there were separate home consoles and handhelds before, like the Switch hybrid model, that they would sometimes do that where they'd be like, okay, we have the Pikmin 3 for the home version, and now we have this like side one, and now that it's a hybrid console, I just don't feel like they do that as much.
Also, they did such a thorough job of porting Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2, and Pikmin 3 Deluxe to Switch, even changing the branding of Pikmin, like the original game, to Pikmin 1 with the numeral in it, that like they've done that already. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if there was some weird Xenoblade spin-off game and they hadn't introduced a Switch 2 version of it by now, then they were never going to do it.
Right.
They went through the push. So, hey Pikmin.
Yeah, I do like that they Raiders of the Lost Ark Pikmin 1.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so Hey Pikmin.
Which is to say they changed the name of it from Raiders to Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so Hey Pikmin, no Ds. Miitopia, 4 Ds? Because
it came out on Switch.
But I don't think this is a series that we see a sequel in. Like, I don't think Miitopia 2 is on the way.
No. And it was weird to me that they remade it.
Just because Miis were never a big part of... Although I guess you could say the same thing about Tamagotchi Life.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But also, like, well, whatever. Yes, I agree.
Monster Hunter Stories. This is another, like, 4D because it
was remade on Switch and, like, all the other platforms. And
3 just
came out. So, yeah I mean, it feels like that is an ongoing concern for Capcom.
Metroid Samus Returns.
Let's talk about it. I would love for them to... Why is it stranded? They put so many other Metroid games. Basically, every other Metroid game outside of the Prime games is playable on the Switch.
I think it's not old enough yet for them to go through the effort of remaking it.
It'll be 10 years next year.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you have Dread, and Dread was really successful.
Yeah.
And...
By Metroid standards.
By Metroid standards, yeah, for sure. And, you know... purportedly, probably, you know, Mercury Steam is working on a new 2D Metroid game. And it doesn't... So, for them to take the effort to be like, okay, this game is, like, not that old.
Yeah.
And now we're going to remake it using this new stuff instead of making just, like, a brand new game. It just doesn't feel... The time is not right to me yet.
Right.
For them to do that.
I get what you're saying. Well, and obviously, like this is Metroid Ravenous is the rumored name of the new game that we assume Mercury Steam is working on and will be very much in the style of both Samus Returns and Dread. I think that is an inevitability. Mm-hmm. I think that, like, for this like micro series within Metroid, I think that's 4D. And then, I sort of think you're right that I love this game so much and it makes me sad.
I know. I just feel like the scope of those 2D Metroid games, it's not like a new 3D Zelda where they need filler titles around it. It's like, well, with Metroid, you know,
you can spoil someone's appetite with a Metroid game.
Yeah, and like the amount of time it would take them to remake Samus Returns, they might as well just make a new one. Because it's like, you know, like the effort would be so similar.
Yeah.
So I think it's
1D/4D.
Yeah.
Which saddens me, but there we are. Next up is Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Specters, which we already talked about last with the title. Next up, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. I think we've talked about the Mario and Luigi remakes. Yeah. This one sold okay. And, you know, like I said, it's sort of like the remake of the only one that people agree is good. And the other one wasn't as lucky.
Up next is Fire Emblem Warriors. And we talked about Hyrule Warriors, but what do you think about, like, Fire Emblem Warriors branding? We've had 2 of these games, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, so the Fire Emblem Warriors, the original, released simultaneously on Switch and 3DS. And then we did get Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which was a, like, direct... companion to Three Houses in a sort of like alternate history retelling of that. I don't know why we wouldn't get a
new one around Fortune's Weave eventually. Yeah. So maybe this is 3Ds.
Yeah, I think this is 3Ds.
Okay. Mario Party we've talked about. Pokemon.
The Mario Party Top 100.
Oh yeah. Pokemon Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun we kind of talked about.
Yep.
Style Savvy we've talked about. So that wraps up 2017.
Yes, and so now we are moving into 2018. We just have 2 years left, and these years get way thinner as we go. It coming out in January of 2018. Kirby Battle Royale. We've got a bucket for that.
Yep.
Yep.
Detective Pikachu. We actually did get a sequel. Detective Pikachu Returns on Switch. And I feel like the reception, the release was very quiet.
Yes. Well, and I know that the people who were fans of the series were like bothered by the writing of Detective Pikachu as a character, that he had been so clearly established in the first game as like having this sort of like surly personality. He liked coffee and was like a little detective guy. And that if it's the influence of the movie that like alters the character a little bit or what. Yeah, I mean, I think Detective Pikachu is probably.
I think probably too.
Dead in a ditch.
It also kind of seems like it was maybe in development hell because it took
forever.
It was announced so many years before it was ever released.
They did make that giant amiibo for it.
They did make that giant amiibo for it, but that was for the 3DS game, right? I don't, because Detective Pikachu Returns, I don't think released until like just a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
I think that the giant one was for the 3DS
for the
game.
original. Okay.
I think so. But I just want to verify. I want to see when Detective Pikachu Returns. Of course, I spelled it wrong, so that is going to add moment 2023.
Yeah. Not the year that I was promising to buy everything Nintendo put out. So I do not own a copy of Detective Pikachu.
So Returns. Yeah, I think maybe 1D at best for Detective Pikachu.
I think so. Yeah.
Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. We've talked about Dylan. Sushi Striker: The Way of Shushido.
Released simultaneously on 3DS and Switch. Came out in June of 2018. What a strange.
Yeah. What a strange. Yeah, so weird.
They released demos of this, I believe, on both platforms.
I definitely played it on Switch.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. Or the demo. I didn't buy the game. This is a 1D.
Yeah, we're never seeing Sushi Striker.
This
again.
is one that like doesn't even like we'll remember it, but it's like a weird bit of Nintendo trivia, but not one that delights me in the same way that like Rusty's Real Deal Baseball does.
Well, it's also, I mean, do you remember the gameplay just being like there were sushi rolls in front of you and like conveyor belts of sushi like in the background, and you like flicked sushis onto them and like they needed to match or something. I never understood how that game worked.
Yeah. And I just remember
and I refuse to take responsibility for that.
I just remember the art being, I don't know, I just remember feeling kind of like low effort. You know what I mean? Like Flash game arty type thing.
I mean, I believe our pet theory at the time, and maybe I've actually just imagined this in the intervening years, but that this was a 3DS game that was supposed to come out in like 2017 or something. And then they realized that the Switch was just like, the new center of gravity. And so they delayed it to do a simultaneous release and like get new updated art assets. And so like some of that was rushed out, and then neither game really gets a chance to shine.
Do you think this or that final Mario and Luigi port on 3DS sold better?
I think this sold better. 70,000 copies.
Up next is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Itself a remake of the Wii U game from 2014 and was released simultaneously on Switch. Why we got no Captain Toad game?
Why?
What's happening?
Yeah.
It's such a good game.
Yeah.
And they haven't made a new one since the first one, but they've ported it twice?
I feel maybe this is just a casualty of them moving on from 3D World. They're just like, we are done.
Yeah.
We're just not playing in the sandbox anymore.
Yeah. That's a shame.
So yeah, I think this is a 1D because it's on Switch already, and they have shown zero interest in making a new one.
And as discussed, when they do try to like sneak a Captain Toad in there, they're doing it wrong. The Explorer Toad, as he appears in Mario Kart World, is not Captain Toad.
No.
They messed him up.
Yeah. WarioWare Gold. Now, WarioWare is interesting to me because before WarioWare Gold came out, which is not an original WarioWare game as such, it's a collection of like mini games from the previous. It's like a best of.
Yeah,
essentially of the series up to that point.
But it does have like, you still play through like character themed things to like play the mini games, and it has so many different like extra game modes that are borrowed from the previous entries in the series. And since then we've gotten two brand new
that's what I'm saying. So
WarioWare games
before Gold, I know there was like a Wii U thing, but the last like proper WarioWare game was Smooth Moves.
Right.
on Wii. And then in the Switch generation, we got 2 different takes on what a WarioWare game could be. I think that the series may go dormant for a while again.
Oh, interesting. I sort of think / wish they would do a like new take on the WarioWare Gold of just combining. Now we've got these 2 more games worth of like mini games and aesthetics and stuff. Let's just lump those in there too. So sometimes you are controlling a little guy flying around in the space to make things happen, but sometimes you're not. To use the get it together.
Yeah.
WarioWare Get It Together. But yeah, it's I guess or it could go dormant for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like. Yeah. Anyways, the fact that we got 2 during the Switch generation makes me feel like they did what they want to do, and the series could use a little bit of a rest. There is a rumor that a new Wario Land game is in development.
Well, that I'm interested in. So what do we think here? Like
let's say 2D. I think it's more likely. Yeah. Yokai Watch Blasters.
We don't know what that is. Moving on, at the end of the year, a remake of Luigi's Mansion
that introduces Gooigi.
Ahead of the release of
Luigi's Mansion 3
Luigi's Mansion 3 the next year, where he becomes like a serious playable character.
Yes. So the fact that we got 2 on Switch, but we never got 1.
But you now can play 1 on the GameCube.
That's right. Yeah. Nintendo Classics. And 3 sold like 15 million, so it feels way more likely to me that we'll get 4 before we would get a remake. But could they do this for, it's like, hey, 4 is out, just like they did for 2 HD, where it's like 4 is out, and now that happens, we'll just joke 2027, and then it's like, okay, but by the end of the Switch 2, we're gonna have another weird year. So here comes Luigi Mansion HD. Like, I would believe that. This feels like a 2 or 3 to me.
Okay, but is that the version of it that includes Gooigi? Or is this specific version of it going to be orphaned on the 3DS?
No, forever? I think Gooigi is
Gooigi is forever.
I think Gooigi is forever.
Here's what they should do. Luigi's Mansion 4, drop the Luigi. It's Gooigi's Mansion.
It's all Gooigi.
It's all Gooigi.
It's all Gooigi.
All the way down.
Comes with like a scratch and sniff cover.
And it just smells like coffee.
Yep.
And he's a time traveler. So it's like a haunted castle in like the Middle Ages.
Yes.
Yeah. And also like a haunted spaceship, in the future.
Yeah, it could be like Army of Darkness kind of, Just a weird kind of like spin-off of like the series.
So it should be Gooigi and Ash versus the Evil Dead.
So I believe in my heart that Luigi's Mansion is a 3D.
Wow.
I think it's going to come to Switch 2, similar to how Luigi's Mansion 2 HD did at the end of its life.
I guess I don't have that same hope, but like obviously there will be a new Luigi's Mansion game.
Yeah.
And also I could see them doing a separate remake of Luigi's Mansion 1.
I think it would have to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a good point. Even if they were like porting this game, it would also have to be a remake. Yeah. All right. Now into the final year of the 3DS's life cycle as far as games being published by Nintendo itself.
Which is so funny. They get to March and they're just like, cut it.
Yeah,
we're done.
We're done. We did 2 years overtime.
Yeah.
Which like pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
And we've talked about most of this already. So Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey. Do you think we ever see these like those like side games?
No, I think that's another like moment in time where Nintendo was doing that. Same with like Bowser's Fury.
Yeah.
Like I think that was a specific moment, and like they aren't going to do that anymore.
They're also pretty terrible game modes. Like they're just not any fun.
Like the ones on the Mario and Luigi
the
remakes,
the Bowser Jr.'s Journey and
Minions.
Yeah, and Bowser's Minions. No, Bowser's Fury is a great game that I love a lot. And then in February, Yokai Watch 3. They stopped doing multiple versions of these games. I think they were like, uh-oh, we got caught. We got caught with Yokai Watch 2. We've talked about Yokai Watch. And then finally, the last game released on the 3DS from Nintendo. Listener, do you know what it is? Any guesses, listener? It's Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, a remake of the Wii game from 2010. So even at that time, they were remaking a 9-year-old game.
I think that this franchise is over with, right? They've kind of like Good Feel is now
they're in the
like
Yoshi
the
business.
Yoshi business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like sort of beyond that, I think that I don't know, maybe it is possible that there would be another Yarn Yoshi game in the future. They always like sometimes or sorry, Kirby. They like it when sometimes he's Clay.
Right. On that also on the Wii U.
Yeah.
The
Canvas Curse.
Yeah.
Or Rainbow Curse.
I think Rainbow Curse might be the DS one.
The DVDS.
Yeah, the DVDS one.
Yeah, but you're probably right. I think they're done with Yarn. Nintendo had their time with Yarn.
Yeah, they were really I just thought it was so interesting where they're like, okay, we're doing epic Yarn, and we really like this idea, and so Yoshi is also going to get in on this.
Yeah, and we're going to remake both of these games on 3DS.
Yeah.
But so I mean,
Canvas Curse is the DS one.
Okay, great. And then Rainbow Curse
is the Wii U one.
Is the Wii U one.
Yes.
Got it. We're doing a real crash course in Kirby games, but just these are more obscure Nintendo games in general. That's it, Mark. We have reached the end of the 3DS library. Do you think we encountered more games than you were expecting that we think we're definitely going to see, or like going through it, we're kind of like, oh, you know what? They've made a lot of games, but they also made kind of a lot of forgettable stuff or stuff that is anchored to that time.
Yeah, I actually think there's more in here that, like, I think if we went back and looked at all the ones that were like 4Ds. Well, actually, no. A lot of the ones we did that were like 4Ds are
already done.
Are just like, or just series that it's like, yeah, it's going to get a new entry, even if this is one. But I do think we found a few that could be catalog fillers. In the way that I would say a new Star Fox has been a catalog filler, like Kid Icarus Uprising. Like, that feels to me like it could show up on the Switch too, as, to fill some time between Mario and Zelda games.
Yeah, I mean, it does bum me out that so many of these that I'm like, man, I would love that. It's just like, yeah, you can lay out the timeline for Samus Returns and just be like, there's no way that it makes sense for this to come out.
Yeah.
And like, there's no way that they would do Triforce Heroes.
Yeah, I guess if nothing else, maybe this exercise made me feel like I think I was expecting going into this to find more games where it's just like, that makes sense for them to remake in the same way they remade Star Fox, in the same way that they're remaking Ocarina of Time. And that has not been the case.
Yes, right. And that's sort of what I was thinking too. And because like Rusty is sort of like our ambassador for this thing, or for the 3DS, it being so tied into what the 3DS could do and couldn't do, like you can also just look back to like the launch games and be like, oh yeah, most of these are digital only games that came with the system to show off what the system can do. And like, yeah, of course we're never going to see that again. It's on a different system. And it was 3D and it had 2 screens and was built on this idea that you would have it in your pocket resting all the time. And that's just, the Switch isn't that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a shallow pool of games. Maybe you should go up and revise the Majora's Mask one higher up. Maybe they will do that. I don't know. All right. Well, if you have any listener, if you have any thing that you think that we judged inappropriately here, email us, Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, or get in that Discord and you can chat with us there. All right, Mark, let's close this out. Sometimes it's the long one when it doesn't need to be the long one. Mark, did you think we were going to go for 2 hours tonight?
I did not, but I should have known better.
Yeah, all right. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you so much to our 16-bit patrons, Connor McCabe, Kyle Seaborn, Drew Mackey, Anthony Lobergellis. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who is listening to 2 hours of this podcast, and anyone who interacts with us in any way. Thank you again so much. Join the Discord if you haven't already. Email us. We'll send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. 8bitbuddy. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbuddy.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying thank you for listening.